Hi all, welcome to another session of environmental studies classes. So in this session, we'll be looking into environmental movements as well as about environmental ethics. The learning objectives of this session is to know about environmental movements and some of the notable environmental movements that took place in India, as well as to understand about environmental ethics. So after this session, you will understand what is environmental movements, and also you will be understanding some of the notable environmental movements that took place in India, as well as also you'll be understanding environmental ethics. So over to this session. So what is environmental movements? Before that, this environmental movements is also known by other names such as green politics or green movement. It is environmental movement can be defined as a social movement for the conservation of environment or for the improvement of state policy, especially inclined towards the environment. In simple words, we can say those movements that are aimed at conserving the environment. Now let's look into some notable environmental movements that took place in India. One such movement is the Chipko movement. Well, I hope you all know about the Chipko movement. The Chipko movement was launched from Gobeshwara in Chamboli district, Uttarakhand in 1973. The main leaders of this movement were Sundarlal Behguna and Chandi Prasad Bhatt. This movement was also known as a Chipko Andolan. It was a non-violent social and ecological movement by the rural villagers of that region. The main aim of this movement was to prevent the illegal cutting of trees in the Himalayan region. And moreover, one of the notable features of this Chipko movement was the involvement of women in preventing the cutting of illegal trees in this Himalayan region. Another notable environmental movement, is the Silent Valley movement. Well, Silent Valley, it is a tropical evergreen forest in Kerala. It is very rich in biodiversity. The Silent Valley movement was a movement against the state to protect the Silent Valley, an evergreen tropical forest in the Palakkad district of Kerala. It was started in 1973 to save the Silent Valley Reserve from being flooded by a hydro project electricity. Through the combined effect of the environmentalists and the local people, they were able to stop the construction of the hydroelectric project. Another notable environmental movement is the Vishnoi movement. Well, Vishnoi is a religious sector found in the western Thar Desert and the northeastern states of India. It was founded by Guru Maharaj Jambaji in 1485 AD. This movement was started by Saint Sambanji in 1780. It was then followed or taken up by Amrita Devi. Almost 363 people from the Bishnoi community were killed in this protest. So when the king came to know about the protest and about the killing of innocent people of this area, he rushed to the village and apologized and declared the region as a protected area. It was a notable that this legislation is still existing today. Now let's talk about environmental ethics. So when we talk about environmental ethics is a branch of applied philosophy that studies the conceptual foundations of environment values as well as more concrete issues surrounding society, attitudes, actions, and policies to protect and sustain biodiversity and ecological system. This environmental ethics comes in two forms: human-centered and nature-centered. So the issues associated with the human ethics, we can say that the problems include global climatic change, worldwide loss of biodiversity, forest, wetlands, long-range transport of toxic substances, decline of coastal ocean quality, and the degradation of world's freshwater and ecological system. These new threats raise a critical new ethical question for human race. Uh, Now let's talk about the role of India and other religions and culture in the environment. So when we talk about this factor, we know that there's a close relationship between religion and environment. Religion has had major positive influence on the natural environment. When we see how different religions connect the environment, it shows how much religion to influence the conservation and the preservation of the environment. So here, Christianity, when we talk about Christianity, Christianity teaches that all creation is a loving act of God, and that humanity may not destroy biological diversity or destroy God's creation without the risk of destroying itself. And the Islam also teaches that the role of people on earth is that of Khalifa or the trustees of God, whereby humans are entrusted with safekeeping on earth and its variety of life. When we talk about Jainism, also highlights about nature. Jainism, which is one of the oldest living religion, teaches ahimsa, non-violence towards human beings and all forms of nature. It believes in mutual dependence of all aspects of nature belonging together and bound in an intricate relationship. And when we talk about Buddhism and nature, all Buddhist teaching revolve around notion of dharma, which means truth and path of truth. It teaches the people are responsible for their actions and go through a cycle of rebirth before finally reaching to dharma, reaching to nirvana. Right action lead to the progress towards nirvana, and bad action such as killing of animals cause regression from that goal in reaching to the nirvana. Buddhism cares for wildlife and teaches that protection of biological diversity is respect for nature, and that living in harmony with it is essential. When we talk about Hinduism, followers of Hinduism believe in the forces of nature and its interconnectedness with the life itself. Certain rivers and mountains are sacred as they give and sustain life. All plants and animals uh, have souls, and people must serve penance for killing plants and animals for food. The teaching of Hinduism, as expressed in the Bhagavad Gita, present a clear description of ecology and interdependence of all life forms from bacteria to birds. Uh, so next, we'll be looking into nature in Indian art and scriptures. So in the scriptures and in the art and in the sculptures of Indian art forms, we can see how much Indian cultures, art, all those things are associated with nature. Indian paintings, sculptures, architectural ornamentation, and decorative art is replete with themes from nature and wildlife, reflecting love and reverence, and therefore the ethics of conservation. In literatures and scriptures too, there has been considerable depiction of appreciation and love for nature, such as Panchandra, which is an Indian collection of animal fables in verse and prose. So this also shows how much the Indian culture is inclined towards nature and environment. When we talk about culture, environment, and technology, the whole civilization has come into existence near sources of water like Indus Valley civilization. In this sense, nature and culture becomes intertwined. Culture reflects our history, tradition, and our beliefs. Revolution in the technological and communicational field and advent of globalization have made an impact on our culture, which had made an impact on our culture, which has also evolved with time. So with the advancement in technology, the culture has also evolved with When talking about sacred groups, um, when we talk about sacred groups are large vegetative areas rich in biodiversity, protected by the communities living around them, often harboring some religious and cultural importance. They serve as a site for many valuable crops and medicinal plants, which act as a gene pool. It also helps in wildlife conservation and vulnerable conservation of vulnerable species. We can say that sacred groves helps in the protection of many rare, threatened, and endemic species of plants and animals found in that area. The process of deforestation is strictly prohibited in this region by the tribals. Hence, the sacred groves biodiversity is a rich area. Sacred groves form important repositories of biodiversity and provide refuges to many plants and animal species of conservation significance. India has well over 13,000 documented sacred groves. You can see the sacred groves in the part of Western Ghats, in several parts of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, as well as Maharashtra. Um, and moreover, we can say one of sacred grove as one of the finest examples of traditional practice in India based on religious faith, which has made a profound contribution to the nature conservation and has been, maintenance of certain patches of land or forest as sacred groves dedicated to deity or village god protected and worshipped. So this is all about today's session. I hope you have got an understanding about what is environmental movements and the three environmental movements which we looked into, and also an understanding about the environmental ethics. So at the end of the day, the thing we need to keep in mind is that uh, everything what we see around the nature which we live in is important part of our life, so it is important that we conserve and preserve them. Then only there will be a sustainability of life. With this, I conclude my session. uh, Thank you and have a wonderful day.